Not overdo it.
I'm not worried about being
balanced.
outshined by you.
Okay, thank you.
You outshine me anyway.
Ah! Okay.
Hi.
Hi. We're back.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to Shit My Soul Says. I don't know why I'm doing a welcome. But Here we are. Yes.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Come into our world.
We made a document.
We call it the Okay, so
That's not going to be very
no.
useful.
No. You can cut that, Jolene.
I'm not cutting that.
Welcome to Shit My Soul Says, a podcast about all things woo. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Rosalie, and we are obsessed with anything having to do with alternative spirituality.
And we want to share our obsession with you because woo is fun, but it's more fun with friends. I'm a reincarnation coach and energy worker.
And I'm a practicing witch, so we've been around the woo block a time or two.
Mm-hmm. Each episode, we will be digging into a different topic, from tarot to third eyes to energy healing.
We'll share our personal experiences and offer you practical advice for your own practice.
So whether you're new to all of this or queen of the pagans,
That's me.
everybody is welcome.
No witch card needed. This is inclusive woo. We just want to laugh with you, learn with you,
And talk about some woo shit with you. So let's do that. Let's talk about Shit My Soul Says. Before we get into the weekly woo, let's share with the audience, whether they're listening or watching, what we're going to be talking about today.
What a good idea.
I like it.
We're going to be talking about purpose.
Mhm. What are you doing with your life?
We all need to know what
We
we're doing
all-
with our lives.
Exactly. Okay. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about purpose. We're going to be talking about, is there such a thing? What is it? How to figure out what it is? And all the other little tidbits that go along with purpose that we can think of that comes through our little noggins.
Yes, but of course, we are just two people with our own individual viewpoints. And we would love to hear from you. If you have
Yes.
completely different viewpoints or if you agree with us, leave a comment, send us an email.
Yes.
We want to hear from you.
We want to hear what shit your soul says
We
about
really do.
purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, if you have ideas for other
Episodes.
or you have questions,
Yes.
shoot us an email.
Do.
Our email address is
shitmysoulsays@gmail.com. It's pretty easy.
it is.
Or you can post a comment down below.
Yeah.
Whatever works. Yeah.
So,
There we go.
are we ready for the weekly woo?
We're ready for the weekly woo.
So, Jillian, tell us,
weekly woo.
what is the weekly woo?
Weekly woo. The weekly woo is where we talk about some woo shit that has happened to us in the past week, or maybe longer than the past week.
Maybe the past month.
Yes, because sometimes there's a bit of a breath between our episodes.
Just a bit.
We're gonna take whatever little woo tidbits have happened to us in the past since we met last.
Yes.
So Rosalie, what's your weekly woo?
What a good question.
Because you were going to tell me your weekly woo, and then you were like,
I know. Now
earlier.
I can't even remember what it was. What were we talking about?
I think our work, our business stuff.
Fuck me. What's
Fuck
your week?
you.
Do
Do you have any weekly woos?
I do. I just am pissed off at myself that I was like, oh my gosh, this weekly woo is so good. I can't tell Jillian
And
right now. I'm saving it.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't get to know whatever this is. I had to wait, and now I have to wait forever.
Forever. Why am I drawing a blank?
Well, I guess it's my turn then.
Jillian, what's your weekly woo?
I have 3.
So can I borrow one?
Yes, I'll give you one. First is kind of a follow-up to Jesse's episode
Okay.
in a way, and also my intention from last time.
And if you haven't watched Jesse's episode, it is
Yes, watch it, about astrology and
tarot
and social
justice. Yeah.
and spirituality and all the good things. And on top of it, Jesse's just a gem and a treasure. Gem and a treasure.
Yeah.
So check that out. So in that, he talked about angel numbers.
That's right.
And then also in my last intention, which we will get to at the end, I'll dig into it more at the end of the episode where we talk about our intentions for the week. and I remembered what my intention was this time. It was about being in the flow.
Yeah, that's right.
So I found a book called The Surrender Experiment, who's
Ooh.
written by the same guy who wrote Untethered Soul.
Mm-hmm.
And in it, he basically has lived his whole life where he surrenders to the moment. Okay. And he lets life come to him and tell him what needs to be done. And it's because it's like, if he lived his life, he would be living out in Mexico, meditating and doing yoga all day long. But all these things kept on happening to him, where eventually he became the CEO of this gigantic company.
Wow.
That became WebMD.
Oh.
And he didn't even want to do that, but he just kept on saying yes to what life brought him. Great book. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. I ate it in a day.
It'll be in the show notes.
It'll be in the show notes. So anyway, I was like, oh, this is the book. I need this book because I'm all about being in the flow. So I went on Amazon to buy it, and I had some Amazon credits. So I applied that to it. And then the total cost of the book was $2.22. Angel numbers.
Angel numbers. Do you know what 222 means?
It's like the angel number.
Oh, is it?
It is like the big one. It's all about being in connection to divine and all of that.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's part one. A little follow-up.
Yep.
Part two is a follow-up from the Kundalini worm.
That's right, the Kundalini worm.
The Kundalini worm. So about a month after that, I woke up in the middle of the night and had this fascinating experience where it was like this energy was dancing around my body. It's like I could feel it.
Ooh.
Like going in and it was real, even though like I woke up in the middle of the night. I wasn't asleep. It was legit. And it just felt really nice. And when I looked it up later, because I went, to try to be like, okay, well, what was this about? Sure enough, it did. When I thought about it, it did feel like a worm. Not a worm, like a snake.
A really big worm.
Like the worm from Dune.
If that were inside you, you'd be dead.
It'd be trouble. It'd be trouble.
They're much, much bigger than people.
Yes. No, it was like a boa constrictor size. And it kind of like,
That's
I don't know.
big.
It was great. It was great.
The worm grew.
The worm grew, as it does. And then the third one is a smaller one, but it I think it just kind of lights up the magical universe we're in.
Okay.
I think. And I feel like the more our consciousness raises, and I've been working on that a lot, the more like manifestation stuff can happen.
Absolutely.
Right. Because your guards get taken off your ability to create, because you're less likely to create something bad. Because if you have more control over your mental state.
Sure.
Okay. So I'm in bed. These always seem to happen in bed. I'm better on the toilet.
Well, because you're comfortable, you're
Yes.
relaxed,
I'm open.
you're open.
I'm open. I'm these opening places, the toilet and the bed. Summary of life. So anyway, so I'm in bed and I'm trying to get up and I'm like, okay, well, let me know. I'm talking to my guides. Like, just nudge me in 5 minutes to get out of bed.
Okay.
Okay. Because I'm cuddling with my cats. And then 5 minutes later, my watch pings me to get up and move around. Right?
Wow.
So any of you have an Apple Watch, you probably have it set to at 10 minutes to the hour. It nudges you to get up and get your movement in for the day or for that hour. So that's what it was. I was like, oh my gosh, it's already 50 after. I got to get up. And I started moving around and everything. And then I was like, wait a minute, it's not 50 after. And that is exactly what it did, because it said, oh, it's time to get up and move. It was only like 25 after. And it was 5 minutes after I had asked it to. So it was like so perfect, because it was like, oh, you wanted a nudge to get up and move around. And that's literally what it gave me.
Did you say it out loud or was it in your head?
It was in my head.
Oh, because I was going to say maybe like the AI of the Apple Watch heard you and was like, oh, yes, 5 minutes from now, I shall ping you.
I don't even think that would work.
Well, I don't think it would either, but
you never know.
I don't know what AI is doing these days.
It's controlling our lives. But we don't need to get into that. That's another episode. So anyway, those are my weekly woos. I feel good about them.
Great. I remember my weekly woo.
Great.
So first of all, this isn't a weekly woo. It's just which is I could not find my makeup today. So I'm not as sad and depressed as I look.
I think your weekly woo on that note is that you would try to get your voice box ghost.
My ghost box.
Your ghost box to help you find it.
I did. I tried to get my little ghost
spirit whisper
guide box thing to tell me It didn't work.
And that's a nod to the app that we talked about in the last episode.
Yes. It said exactly where I thought it was. Bookshelf or book something. I thought it was on a bookshelf. It was not. So
You're going to have to report back where you find it.
okay, just making myself rosy again. Like the
Our
Victorians.
beauty treatments.
My actual weekly woo. I've been getting a little bit more into astrology. And it's, I'm still a dabbler. I am not by any stretch of the imagination an expert in astrology at all. But a podcaster that I listen to, Horoscope Weekly with Eliza Kelly, this past week, Mars moved from Cancer into Leo.
Oh.
And Mars doesn't like being in Cancer because Cancer is all about being cozy and comfortable and home.
Yes.
And Mars is all like boom, 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 action, boom, boom, choo, choo, choo.
I know, because Mars is the planet for Aries.
But Leo is also a fire sign.
Yes.
Like Aries is. And so Mars likes to be in Leo more. It's a much more active.
It's party time.
And the night of the transition from Cancer to Leo, I was lying in bed and reading a book. And then I just got this moment where I was like, I have to start doing this work. And it was like way too late for me to get out of bed and do anything. But I felt a shift. Like I really genuinely felt a shift within myself.
Love it.
And just was like, okay, I've gone from this period of Mars in Cancer, which is a very
inward healing, nurturing energy.
Yeah. And it's like, hey, I don't really want to do stuff. I don't feel that fire. And now I'm feeling the fire of Mars and Leo.
Welcome to my world.
So
all the fire.
I mean, I'm an Aries rising. So I got my fire.
You got your fire.
I got my fire.
I'm not taking it away from you.
Well, you can't.
I cannot.
You could try.
I won't even bother trying.
You could try, but my Pisces water might put you out.
This is true.
I say that was my Aries rising talking.
Totally, got a little feisty. The Aries came out.
Well, that's because of the Mars thing. So.
Yes, you're lit up.
So anyway, that's my weekly woo.
I like it. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there we go. Let's talk about purpose.
Yeah. What is it? Jillian, what is purpose? What is life purpose?
What is purpose? Well, okay, let's talk about it in a society.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about our own particular interpretations of it.
Okay, great.
So I think on the society level, and we're telling this to you, and you already know this because you're in society, but this is the level set. So in society, purpose is about like what you're doing with your life.
Right.
What you're calling, what God or source or your soul or your goddesses or whatever wants you to do with your life.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my story.
Okay.
On society's version.
I think that particularly in America, that purpose is career driven.
Absolutely.
So, you might have people who are like, oh, my purpose is to raise a family and, work at home, like be a homemaker, which is great. That's a wonderful purpose for people. But society tends to have kind of a negative.
My purpose is to be a doctor, and you have to be something that has status and makes money.
I also think it's interesting because a lot of jobs that don't make money, people expect that to be your purpose.
Oh, yes, that's true too.
So that you will do that without money, like teachers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's expected like, no, this is your purpose in life. You are a teacher.
Yeah.
You are passionate about it. You're so passionate about it that you're going to work from home. You're going to spend your own money on supplies. You're going to do all these things because you're just so passionate about it. It's your purpose.
Yeah.
And you don't need compensation for that purpose.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of bullshit, personally.
Yeah. I can't help but think of the gender dynamics because you just talked about purpose as far as teachers, and I talked about purpose as far as doctors, right? And so when we talk about roles that are traditionally one gender versus another, stereotypically, the ones that are male, doctor, lawyer, astronaut, those tend to pay more money than those that are seen as female. Patriarchy! Anyway.
Smash it. Smash it.
That's the Mars coming out.
My Mars is on fire.
Yeah, good. So that's society's idea, is that purpose is usually like a career. And when you're following it, then all success is yours.
Right.
whatever that might look like.
Yes.
You're going to be happy, you're going to be feeling alive, and everything is beautiful and rainbows, etc.
And there's also this stigma, I think, for people who don't have that kind of purpose, right? So people who are disabled in some way, where they can't work in a traditional job, or they need people to help them with their day-to-day activities, right? That there is a stigma against people like that they don't have purpose, therefore they aren't worth time.
Yeah.
And that's bullshit.
Yeah.
In my very humble opinion.
No, yeah. I mean, the judgments about people in general are not good.
No. So when you look at it from that sort of societal viewpoint, it's kind of a toxic, negative thing almost.
It can be.
Where it's like, oh, I have to have this purpose, and my purpose is a career, and my career will bring me money and success.
Yeah. So we're going to clear some of that today.
Yeah.
We're going to rebuild purpose and talk more of it in a positive, enlightening, positive, happy place.
I'm just cleansing. Just
cleanse it out.
Ugh.
Okay. Those of you who are listening, Rosalie is waving her hands around to clear out the energy.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, she is clearing out the energy. It's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for.
I didn't mean to mock you.
No, it's okay. You can mock me. I appreciate being mocked.
Yes. Great. Well, we'll get some more of that cooked up then. Okay. So that's what we talk about society. Now let's talk about our own individual interpretations of purpose.
That's actually a really hard question. I mean, what is purpose? I think it's what lights you up. I think your purpose is what lights you up.
Okay. Well, I have my own story around purpose because, I've got my own particular set of belief systems.
Absolutely.
Funny, when I was growing up, I did always kind of interpret purpose as being about your career and learned through people in my life that it isn't. You can have a purpose that isn't about the way that you make money. So my story around purpose is that before you come into form, before you incarnate, I believe in reincarnation, before you incarnate, you make certain plans about what you want to accomplish or want to do with this life. And from my perspective, you kind of have two purposes.
Okay.
You have one that is for yourself, about something that you want to learn or overcome or remember or grow in some way, some sort of mission you're giving yourself to learn more about love or to feel powerful or whatever it is. And you set up particular circumstances in your life to help cause that to be something that you learn. And then the other one is more of the purpose number 2 is like, how do you want to be of service?
Yes.
How do you then also serve the world around you? Now you can do that through your job by being a teacher, a doctor, healer, whatever, but you can also do it through being a mother.
Sure.
Right? As you were talking about the stay at home and the judgment that goes along with that, by being somebody that's like cherishing living beings and helping bring them up into the world and the impact that they will also make the way that you are making it. That is that is purpose. Or being a member of your community, or just even it could be that you're out in the wilderness, but you're just emanating love and sending love out into that could be your purpose if that's, you think about monks, Himalayan monks, that sort of thing. So
yeah, I would like to kind of amend my personal purpose definition, which I like yours. I don't necessarily agree with it.
I know it's not your belief trajectory,
but I don't disagree with it either because I don't know.
Right.
Your purpose isn't just what lights you up, but your purpose is also how you leave the world a better place.
I love that.
Again, it could be by emanating love. It could be by raising children who are kind and good people. It can be teaching. It can be being a doctor. It can be being a good friend.
Yes.
It can be helping to teach somebody else who you just happen to encounter in your life how to be more compassionate.
Yes.
I'm thinking of people who might feel like, how can I have a purpose? How can I make the world a better place when I can't move or, I struggle with talking or, have these disabilities where you can't work, you can't necessarily volunteer or be doing a lot of these things.
World.
Right.
Yeah.
But even just helping somebody that you encounter to realize how to be compassionate or, that sort of thing. There's lots of ways to make the world a better place.
Yeah. Well, and actually it's interesting because sometimes purpose is, if you're talking about the disabled situation, my understanding is that if you had a caregiver, that can be an agreement that's done before you come into form, because that person wants to learn more about taking care of people and loving people and being in that role or paying back that maybe they received in previous life. So the idea that maybe you are disabled that need help from other people, that you're giving other people a chance to be their highest selves in relationship to your particular challenges.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it sound like disabled people can't do things in the world. I'm just speaking about a fraction of people, especially as somebody who's been experiencing disability. It's really on my mind.
Yeah, this is coming from more of your lived experience, right?
Right.
Your recently lived experience.
Right.
Yeah, that's why you're speaking from your particular point.
And understanding more about the disabled experience. And also my sister was pretty severely disabled in the last few years of her life. She couldn't work. She couldn't walk. You know, she had a lot of health issues. She was in the hospital a lot. So she volunteered as much as she could. She wasn't able to do what she had always felt was her purpose, which was to be a doctor. My lived experience and my secondhand experience with disability is very profound.
Okay.
And that's on my mind a lot these days. So
you're bringing it. That's part of your lens.
It's part of my lens.
Yeah. And I think that's a good thing. I mean, I think we kind of said that, but I think I've gotten into saying that recently, is like just owning the lens. Like whatever we're sharing is coming through our lens, our lived experiences, and our viewpoints. So find your truth.
Absolutely.
Find the shit your soul says, right? Yeah.
The end.
The end.
One of the things that I have learned about in my astrology studies, not really, not doing a lot of studies, is something called the North Node. There's a North Node and a South Node, and they're calculated based on the position of the moon, and they're not planetary bodies. It's where like the orbit of the moon intersects the orbit of the sun or something like that. Don't quote me.
Yeah. My story, I mean, I could be wrong because I haven't studied it, but I thought it was like a point on the horizon when you were born on one side versus the other side.
That is what I thought too, but that is
your rising.
That's your rising. Yeah. So you're rising and then you're descending.
Okay.
Are the points on the horizon.
Okay. Go talk to Jessie Nelson.
Yeah. Because I was like, I was like, well, maybe it's then like, what's the midway in between your rising and your descending? And it's not. But you have your North Node and your South Node, and those are opposite each other on your chart. But your North Node is about, and again, I'm a dabbler. It's about your destiny and about the direction of your life and like where you are going to feel a pull to be of service or to have a purpose. That's your kind of destiny area.
So I've learned a little bit about North Nodes and South Nodes in my life too.
Great.
It's kind of interesting because it's kind of in alignment with when I said that there are two purposes. My picture around it is that it's more around that first one about your purpose, is first what you're working on. Because my understanding is the North Node is about like from a reincarnation, like that's what you're working on in this life, is growing and learning in this particular way. Whereas your South Node is what you're coming from. So for me, my South Node is Aries. So we got a lot of that going on, meaning like I had a lot of lives where I was a warrior and was all about myself and being a leader and all of that. And this life, my North Node is Libra, which is about community. Take a drink. That's one of our taglines. So, or one of our feature hits that keep on repeating itself in our episodes.
Yeah, it's when you take a drink.
Yes, it's when you take a drink. That's the drinking game. So Libra is my North Node. So I'm working on how to be in relationship, how to be in connection, not living so much in that all me leader mindset and coming into balance.
Okay.
That's my story.
So yeah, I have, from a not past life perspective, and I do believe in past lives, right?
Yeah, it's just not your primary lens like it is for me.
Right. But the South Node, from my understanding, is kind of, it is a little bit what you've brought into this life. And so I do see it as a past life kind of a thing. It's like, what experiences have you brought in? But it could be viewed as maybe like your childhood versus your, future, like past and future kind of thing, I think.
Yeah, I could see that.
Just to kind of tweak it a little bit for people who aren't into past lives or don't believe in past lives. Yeah, my South Node is in Leo.
Oh,
So
it's interesting. Both of our South nodes are in fire signs.
Yeah. And then my North Node is in Aquarius.
Oh,
so it's all
that's
about.
perfect for you.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay. Innovation and making the world a better place.
Yes.
And
but also spirituality.
And spirituality. Yeah. It's funny because when Jesse was doing my chart the first time, he looked at it, he's like, oh, you've done theater, haven't you? I was like, what are you talking about? How do you know that? He was like, well, because Leo, your South Node is Leo.
How are Leo friends out there who like to shine? So do you know about the midheaven?
I have heard of it.
My understanding, when I did a little bit of my own little journeying into astrology, when you're talking about finding your purpose as far as like your calling kind of a purpose, it's your midheaven.
Oh, interesting.
And if you can find out where your midheaven is or what like planet is there, then you can look and see what that planet, what house that's in, or I don't know. There's a lot of other stuff. Go talk to Jesse. I'm just going to keep on promoting him because I'm not an astrologer. But my midheaven is Gemini.
Okay.
Which I do love me and my Geminis.
Communication.
Which is communication, right? Which is communication. So that keeps on showing up when I've dug further into my astrology chart, because there are other planets and other things that can kind of give you some clues. Candy Nichols' book, You Were Born for This.
Yes.
That's a good one. We'll put a link to that.
Love that book.
Because it takes particular areas of your chart to understand like kind of life purpose sort of work from an astrology perspective. So yeah, in that it's like everything. It's like communication, spirituality, practicality, and there you go.
I wish I knew what my midheaven was off the top of my head.
Transformation and transformation.
Oh, sure. That's a big Gemini thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what my midheaven is. And
well, you'll be looking it up tonight.
I will be looking it up tonight. I would say like, oh, I'll look it up right now, except that I can't because my phone is where it is and my phone is being used to record this girl, woman, person, lady.
Yeah, lady.
Sexy bitch.
Yeah.
Take that if you want it.
Take it if you want it.
Leave it if you don't.
So if you are trying to figure out what your purpose is, that is a good place to start, is to look at astrology and see what it might have to tell you.
Absolutely.
But one of the things that you talked about earlier, I think, was about what lights you up.
Yes.
So my picture around how to find your purpose is really, and you had a lot. You've got a lot to say about this because you put a lot in there.
I put a lot of quotes in there.
In the document. The document. If you really listen to yourself, if you really tune into your body and see what lights you up, what gets you feeling excited, what gets you to feel happy or to get you to feel joy, that's when the little flashlight is lighting on your path, the way forward. Those are like little flashlights that light up your path or the direction. And I think the thing that you'll find too, as you begin to explore your path, is that it doesn't light up your whole path. It lights up the next step. An example for you, right? Like you were shown to become an acupuncturist.
I was.
And it wasn't your full destination.
Correct.
But it was the next step in your journey.
Yes.
So sometimes we can think that, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be. When really it's like, this is what you're supposed to do for this moment, which will get you to the next thing. Like being a psych major wasn't necessarily about me becoming a psychologist, but there was information that I learned that then helps me in my calling in helping people in their own personal transformation.
Purpose can change.
Yes.
Your purpose is not set in stone. You might have just one for your whole life, but you're not necessarily somebody who's got one purpose from day one until the day you die. There are people like that, and there are people who are very much not like that. And so if you're feeling like, oh, I thought this is my purpose, and then I moved on to something else, and then I moved on to something else, and this felt right, and this felt right, that doesn't mean that that's not your purpose or that any of them weren't your purpose. It was just the path that you were on and what was right for you at the right time.
A couple of things kind of come to mind. So one, first of all, don't judge yourself. I think putting that judgmental energy on yourself or out to the universe, not needed. Nope. Not necessarily not helpful. Whatever your path was right for you. And I like to think of it as it's like you got a little basket and you're going through life and you're collecting little things and you're putting it in your basket, right? And then you've got all of these different tools and resources that are helping you with whatever your final sort of purpose might be, or your next purpose if it's not a final purpose. And I think that's one way also, that's one way also to figure out what your purpose might be. When I look at my life and I see, okay, well, I was an acting major, but I also was a psychology major, but I also was really into world religions and was a world religions major. Those three things seem like they are at odds with each other. But actually, as I've gotten clear on what my purpose is, those three things blend together into the story. Just like my HR work and that business background and strategy, all of that weaves in.
Right.
So if you're looking to find your purpose, that is one thing that you can look at. Like, what have you done in your life? What skills did you develop? What perspectives did you learn? What people did you interact with? How did you grow? And maybe just make a list of all those different things and see if you were to blend them together, if it was like a training program that you went through, your own personal sort of training program that you built out so that you collected the skills and resources that you needed, what might all those get applied to?
Right. Interesting. I don't know the demographics of everybody who listens and watches our show, but there may be people who are younger, teenagers, early 20s,
starting your journey. Good for you.
You're more in the Fool card part of your journey. So in tarot, you've got the Fool, which is the 0 card, which is
beginnings
and
possibilities.
And what he has like a little bindle.
A little bindle.
A bindle, like if you're a hobo on the trains, you got your bindle. He's got a bindle and a dog. What?
I just have never heard the word bindle before.
Okay, well, his bindle.
Okay, I like it. I'm a fan of it. It's just a new word for me.
Okay.
It's just unusual because you know me, I got all my words. That's Gemini.
So his bindle, it's like, what does he think that he needs for his journey, right? But it's kind of small. It's like a little, it's not a basket, but it's like a little basket. He's got just a little thing of whatever he thinks he's
whatever little chunks
gonna need on his way, whatever he's picked up. And even the Fool, who's starting off on this brand new journey, has things, has gifts, has skills that they're bringing with them. So even if you're just starting out, if you're still a teenager, you're in your early 20s, you haven't graduated college, or you're not going to college or whatever, you have life experiences. You began having life experiences as a baby, and you are continuing to pick those things up. And our childhoods and our lived experiences through our whole lives are part of our purpose.
And I think that is actually a good point too, because often you can look towards your childhood to also get clues.
Yes.
I mean, you'll hear that a lot. So, for example, for me, when I was a child, I always wanted to start a business.
Yeah.
It's one place to look.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're supposed to be playing with Barbies as an adult, but
maybe you are.
Maybe you are. Maybe you're dressing mannequins.
Or you work for Mattel.
Exactly. We don't know what your story is.
But also, if you were like me as a kid and you were like, I want to be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, I want to be an actor, I want to be a marine biologist, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be an investment banker. Literally any career that a person could have is the career that I wanted at some point in my life. It's the same with boys.
But I think the thing that's interesting about that, the boys one's a different episode, because I also had that issue. But I think the thing that it's like, if you think about why did you enjoy doing those things?
Right.
What was it that excited you about that? And even in your life now, like when you look at things that you do and you like, what is it about whatever it is that you do that you enjoy? Why do you enjoy doing that? Again, that's that lighting you up. What causes you to feel that enjoyment, that excitement, that happiness?
Yes.
This is our wiggle moment.
Can I have the document, please? I want to give you a couple of quotes. One is a quote by Howard Thurman, who was an author, philosopher, theologian, Christian mystic, educator, and civil rights leader. He advocated for nonviolence. He mentored Martin Luther King. He said, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive." Just especially now in our current political climate, where doing what makes you feel alive is an act of resistance right now. Finding your joy, finding the things that light you up is an act of resistance. Fascism wants you to be scared.
Imagine a world where everybody was doing what lights them up.
Yeah.
Like if we were all doing things where we felt inspired and filled with love, everything would be happier and better, right?
Absolutely.
We wouldn't need to be taking things from people, or we wouldn't be stuck in that state of fear.
Yes, that would be amazing.
It would be amazing.
It would be amazing.
Let's do it.
The other quote I wanted to read is a Joseph Campbell quote. Joseph Campbell was a writer, a professor of comparative mythology and comparative religion.
Yep.
And he did an interview with, I think, Bill Moyers. It's called The Power of Myth. This interview, and it's a book now, so you can read the whole thing. But he said, if you follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all the while waiting for you. And the life that you ought to be living is the one you are living. Wherever you are, if you are following your bliss, you are enjoying that refreshment, that life within you all the time.
I love it.
So I just wanted to share those kind of perspectives.
Yeah. And I love the thing that I love about that too, is going back to my earlier, like my woo about being in the moment, letting life come to you and you're flowing with it. That is how you do it. That is one of the ways that you do it, is by going into the things that fill you up and light you up, and not the things that you're doing because you're afraid. I'm afraid of being homeless or broke or people hating me or whatever, so I'm going to do this. I'm afraid of my parents, disappointing my parents. But if you instead go into the thing that really lights you up and makes you feel good, you're going with the flow of the universe.
Right. And I'm going to give you...
I got one more quote too.
Jillian has a quote. Do you want to read it now?
I do have a quote. I'm going to read it now. It's from my tea bag.
I wasn't expecting that.
I know. Well, I was just like, let me just see what my tea bag has to say, because I feel like it's going to be appropriate for this episode.
Amazing.
So here's what it says, and I'm going to be able to read it even without my reading glasses, I promise. This is from Audrey Hepburn.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible.
Oh,
yeah. There you go.
like that.
So it was perfect.
I like that. I wanted to bring up that fear is real. Fear is very real. We always have to have our basic needs met. We need to have shelter. We need food. We need clothing. We need water that's clean and drinkable. And we need emotional support and community. Like, these are all things that we need as human beings. And so it can be very difficult to say, this over here is what lights me up. This over here is what brings me
feeling of safety,
resources, and a feeling of safety. That's why I think it's really important to divorce the idea that your purpose, the things that light you up, have to be how you make your money.
Absolutely.
They can be.
They can be, but they're not necessarily. And it could be something that you do on the side as well.
Absolutely.
And the other thing I want to say about fear, because I think that it's very easy to get caught up in this fantasy idea, if that you do your purpose, everything will flow and be easy, and you'll be lit up and you'll be happy all the time and everything will be good. And that's actually not usually how it works.
No.
What usually is how it works, you follow your purpose or your calling, whatever it might be. It's a lot will come up that needs to be healed, right?
Yes.
So a lot of fear will come up that you've got to, I'm dealing with myself. You have to, particularly if it's something around creativity, which a lot of purpose often is, when you're taking something from yourself and sharing it with the world, all of the stuff about your self-judgment, am I good enough, etc., am I going to, fail at this? Is this going to mean I'm going to be broke and I'm going to lose all my money, or whatever the stuff is? All that stuff is going to come up as a gift to you. It doesn't feel like a gift. Does not feel like a gift.
No. Feels like a giant pile of shit.
Poop. Yeah, shit.
This is the shit your soul says.
This is the shit your soul says.
I know.
It's just like, you got to heal this shit. But by walking into the shit, to get real gross. But by walking into it, you're like, because that's what I'm going through right now. It's like, okay, I've got all these fears. I, in the past, have let those fears stop me. And I have let them shut me down.
Yeah.
And I have let myself not believe in myself. My challenge here, whatever the eventual outcome is, My challenge here is to walk into it and be like, okay, I'm going to keep on taking steps forward, even though I'm terrified, even though I don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes it feels like, like I remember I did one of those obstacle courses where you had to walk across like a rope bridge, and it's really scary. Your body's like freaking out.
Yeah.
But you just have to like push your body to take another step, even though you're terrified, and then eventually get to the other side. That's what it feels like for me.
Interesting.
It's just like I just have to keep on taking a step, even though my body feels frozen and doesn't want to move. Because if I don't take a step, I'm just going to stay where I'm at.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to get there.
Yeah. Or you're going to fall.
Or you're going to fall. Nobody wants that.
Sometimes falling is part of the journey.
Sometimes falling is part of the journey.
And that sucks.
And sometimes that's part of the journey to realize like you're going to fall, but you won't die.
Right.
And even if you do die,
then you come back.
That's the whole spirituality question. You are going to be okay ultimately, even though sometimes you're going to go through periods of your life where things do not feel okay.
Jillian and I went through that together.
We did go through it together.
We fell hard.
We really did.
In a business that we tried to start together. We've kind of talked about it before. That was a huge failure. It was a failure on so many levels that it literally took us out of spirituality.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
It was trauma.
Yeah. It was spiritual trauma.
I would say for me, it broke me.
Yeah.
It broke me.
Yeah. But you aren't broken,
I'm
right?
not-
It broke you, but you're not broken.
But I'm not broken.
But you're not broken.
Yeah. It took me a long time, but I have looked at those lessons. I have worked on healing the trauma. This was something I saw on like Instagram, and I wish I could properly quote this person.
It's not on.
It's not. There's the quote from Nietzsche that is, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger," and that's kind of a shitty quote in many ways, right? But there was a woman who said that her father pointed out that what doesn't kill you doesn't make you stronger. It does make you weaker. But when you work on healing that, when you fix that, that is what makes you stronger.
Absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, you got fucked over by life. However that happens.
Yeah. It happened to you because you're in a human body.
You've been fucked over by life. We all know it.
We all know it.
We've all been fucked over by life, and in various degrees, in various ways. And that does cause you to break.
Yes. Break open.
Break open.
Break apart.
Break inward. I mean, there's just so much, it just fucks you up.
Yeah.
But then when you work on that, when you heal that with, therapy and spirituality or whatever it is that works for you.
Whatever your healing journey is.
When you heal that, then you become so much stronger. And you can look at that trauma and you can say, this is what I have learned from that. Now, I don't believe that everything happens for a reason. I don't. That is not my personal belief. But I do believe that you can give
Make a
reason to everything that happens.
You can grow from everything that you experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Woo! Maybe I had something to say about it in here.
That's why we have.
And I think too, the one thing to kind of keep in mind, particularly if you're talking about businesses, right? If that's your particular path, you'll see that people that have led successful businesses had failures before they had successes, because those failures give you an opportunity to learn and grow and get better. And I look back at my previous business and what I learned, and now that I'm starting it all again, I mean, all of that knowledge, all that I learned, I bring with me now. It's not like we start from scratch. It's not like we start from zero, just like the bindle. I have a bindle. My bindle's big though.
I don't think it's just business. I think every time you fuck up, every time you fail, every time you hit a roadblock, that's how you learn. That's very much growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And that's something that like we work on teaching my son. When he's like, oh, I don't like this because it's hard. But you're like, well, that's how you get better. That's how you get stronger. Every time you mess up, every time you don't do what you want for any reason, this could be with video games. We talked to him about it, right? He gets better because that's from day one. That's been our attitude, because my husband and I both know about growth mindset, and neither of us was raised with that mindset. If I'm not good at it immediately, I'm a failure. And that's not true.
Yeah. It makes me think of, an analogy, which is strength training. If you were to pick up a piece of paper that's going to be easy, but you're not going to get very strong.
Yeah.
But by picking up a heavy weight, it breaks your muscle fibers that then heal and grow and get bigger
And stronger.
and stronger. So that's what life does to us.
Yeah.
Breaks us so that we rebuild stronger.
Do we want to kind of talk a little bit about how to find your purpose beyond what we've already mentioned?
Yeah, I think so, because there are a few other ways.
Yeah.
Number one way, I think, is like looking at what lights you up. But sometimes nothing does.
Yeah.
I mean, I've certainly been in that place where like nothing excites me.
Yeah.
And maybe that means just a time to rest or
Yeah.
to just chill out for a little bit.
Yeah. Rest.
Think about what you
heal.
learned. But I also think synchronicities are a way as well.
Ooh, yeah.
I think when you see things kind of keep on happening or lining up, or things that just happen easily to you,
Or angel numbers.
or angel numbers, that it can be a little sign about which way to go. And speaking of, you can always ask your guides for help.
That's
You
true.
can always ask them to help you have an understanding about what a next step could be for you.
I also think that tarot and oracle cards are a very useful tool for helping to figure out your purpose, or at least your next step. What's the next step that you can take to move forward on your life path?
That's why I'm back doing this. I think I talked about this in a past episode.
Yeah.
Where I did a tarot reading, and it was very clear I was supposed to be doing spiritual work, and I was really pissed off because I was very heavy into my HR journey. I was really building a career, and I really was enjoying making money and the security and having that all just be part of the normal, easy world where you're not having to deal with all of the healing junk to deal with. But I was like, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to. And then it just kept on happening. The message kept on coming at me that I needed to get back to the work. But I think that what happened, I've talked about this in the past, but I think what happened when we had that moment where everything kind of broke apart and I chose to go into HR at that point, that was still part of my journey, even though it didn't look like purpose on the outside as far as calling, transformation, blah, 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 blah. But in going that way, I built up different skills. I reconnected with my power. I reconnected with how to get things done. It was like I was putting things in my basket so that when it was time for me to exit and come back to it, now I had the tools and resources that I didn't have when I did it before.
Absolutely. I love that.
I have that to say. That's what I have to say about that.
One of the things that's also important to know is that you do not have to do this by yourself.
You don't.
There are people out there who have the skills to help you, whether that's a career coach, a life coach, a tarot reader, a spiritual journey facilitator, or a Jillian.
Or a Jillian, yeah, I do. I mean, there's one client that I actually met with yesterday. When she came to me, she didn't know what she wanted. And I was like, oh, as we worked together, I was like, oh, you really do know what you want. Because honestly, in my life coaching, when people would come to me to find purpose, they did know what excited them and lit them up. They just wouldn't give themselves permission to do it.
Yeah.
So with working with me, I could really hear and listen to what it was that they wanted and help them kind of get clear on what that would look like. And then actually how to put together the actual steps they needed to do to make it happen. So in her case, she started a luxury fitness retreat for women. Now in its 10th year.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. Very exciting. And it's really lovely. It's lovely. Every time I look at it, I get real excited. It's nice to be a part of that story, even if you're not the person doing it, right? But to help facilitate that happening in the world.
Absolutely.
It's exciting. Yes.
Yeah.
So you can work with us.
You work with us, work with other people.
Other people. You could work with Jesse Nelson for the astrology side of things.
You could listen to Lee Harris videos.
Take a drink.
I had to mention him because Jillian didn't this time.
I mentioned him before we started getting on camera.
Yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't
He
count.
does have a spiritual business course. If you're interested in doing a spiritual business, Lee Harris can help you there. Get started and let you know that the world does need what you have to offer. I'm going to share one of the exercises I like to do with my clients. So that if people want to do this at home, to try this out. It's one of my favorite ones.
Okay.
It's called I don't know if I've talked about it on this show before. We're going to find out. I call it the 10 lifetimes experiment for exercise. So what you do, get out a piece of paper and you write down, if you had 10 lifetimes to live, what would you do? And you can do anything. What would you do in that lifetime? Just write them all out. I would be a monk. I would be a teacher. I would be wealthy business owner. I would be a mom, whatever it would
Mhm.
be. You can write it all down, those 10. And it gets a little harder, right? As you get to like 7, 8, or 9, and 10. Then go back and let yourself do it with an open mind. Don't think about part 2. But then go back and write down what it is about that excites you and lights you up, that it interests you. And it's in that information that you then begin to get clues about what it is that you're seeking in life.
I remember I did that exercise because you were like, oh, here's my 10 lifetimes thing. And for whatever reason, the only lifetime that I can specifically remember putting down was Hobbit. I want to live in a beautiful pastoral place where, you know, you spend time with your community, you relax, you farm, you garden, and you just live for food and company.
What about that lights you up? What about that interests you?
It's the community of it all.
Community.
Drink. It's the community, and it's the being with the earth and with the land, and having both of those things at the same time.
So that's something for you to explore.
Yeah.
That might be in your future.
Maybe I'll be a hobbit.
Maybe you'll be a hobbit. Or maybe you'll just be doing something where you're out in nature and you're running a community center and doing gardening.
Wow. I don't think that's my future, but I love it. I love that idea.
You never know. But that tells you something, that there is something in your soul and your heart that like wants that earth connection.
Right.
And that wants that real kind of living.
For me, filling that piece of the puzzle is having a garden and plants at home.
Yeah. And it's not like all 10 lives, they all have to total up to your, calling. It's an exercise to get you to kind of think about what it is that you're really wanting. And sometimes it's not a calling. Sometimes it's like you said about the environment that you're wanting to be in. It could be just that your soul is calling to you that it needs to be in a particular place or needs to be a particular type of people. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a purpose sort of a thing, in the sense of like jobs.
Right. Having plants that I love and a garden that I work in is kind of, I think, part of my purpose. It's just, growing things that are nurturing feels very important. And to be honest, my kid eats most of it.
Well, good.
It's like we get raspberries and strawberries and blueberries and carrots and peas. And, my kid who doesn't like vegetables is just like, eat them all.
That's so good. And it's so good for him.
Yeah.
To have that fresh, lively food. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Hopefully that was helpful for you to find your way forward in life, or help you continue on if you already know your purpose, just give you a little bit of encouragement and support as you move forward.
And reminder that you're gonna stumble sometimes.
Sometimes you're gonna stumble, and that's okay. That's part of the process.
Yes.
That's part of the strengthening process.
Yeah. I think it's intention time.
Intention time. So my intention last time was to get more in the flow of life. And so I have really been working on that. What I do to do that is I really try to listen to my body and my being. What do you want to do today? What wants to be done today? It's interesting. It's a dance. I'm still working on figuring it out, because sometimes it could be that I just want to read spiritual books all day, which I think is part of the process of, learning and growing. But it can be hard to not get in judgment about what it is you're doing, because it doesn't look like what you're supposed to be doing.
Supposed to.
Yeah. But in general, I feel pretty good about it. I feel like
Nice.
I'm really trying to kind of listen and lean into it a lot more. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So check.
Well,
how's your intention going? Well, I remember. Not well.
Very well.
Oh, really?
Just in a different way.
Okay.
Way you might not expect. So my intention last time was that I was going to be healthy. I was going to manifest health and wellness.
Yes.
Well, I got very sick.
Yes.
Jillian got very sick.
I also got very sick.
And to the point where I had to go to urgent care. I was concerned about pneumonia, and it wasn't, luckily. But what I did realize has happened since our last recording is my back has gotten infinitely better. So I've been dealing with this low back pain that's been debilitating. I've been able to go on walks. I've been able to pick up my huge child who's like at least 65 pounds at this point. He has to jump, but So I'm not like,
Yeah.
but he jumps and I hold him. And, so there's just been a lot more functionality. I was
Good.
able to go fishing with my in-laws and stand up for the entire time and, just be much more physically able in my body.
Yay. Well, that makes me really happy.
Yeah. So I got really sick, but that was not the picture. It was what I had thought the picture was going to be, was I wasn't going to get another cold or whatever. But in reality,
It was deeper than that.
It was much deeper than that. And on top of that, I have been to a couple of doctors to continue my progressive movement forward. So
Good.
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
So what is your intention for this coming month or so?
Yeah, however long it takes until our next filming episode. I think my next intention, I really feel like it's time for me to birth things into the world. Like to actually, I've been reading a lot and absorbing a lot and planning and, doing different things. But I think that it's time for me to actually create and put things out to the world.
Love it.
I'm working on a past life regression journal.
Ooh.
So I recorded a past life regression that people can go through. And then there's a journal that can help them learn about like, what sort of life lessons was I learning from that life? How does it affect my current life today? So it's a way to heal your current life by looking at a previous life.
Love it.
Or go through that sort of meditation. If you don't believe it's real, that's okay. There's still things that your soul or your subconscious can teach you. So that's one of the things. I feel like there's some group programs. I feel like there are things that are ready to be coming into the physical world and to be birthed. So
I feel like that's the Mars moving from Cancer
very possibly
into Leo.
Yes.
The like gestation happens in Cancer.
Yes.
And the birth happens in Leo.
That makes sense because Cancer's very maternal and Leo's very external.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So it's mine. So we'll see what I birthed.
It's probably not going to be a human.
No, it is definitely not going to be a human. If it is, we've got some problems on the planet.
My intention is similar, but it's very much to use this energy of Mars and Leo to be active instead of passive, not just with my business and my job, but with my family and with my garden.
I love it.
And just be much more active because that's the place I'm in. Especially like as the flowers are blooming and plants are growing, it's this very like upward motion.
I love it.
This very like, yes, everything is growing and I want my activities and my actions to grow.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what actions are you all taking out there?
Yes.
Get working on it.
What are your intentions? We want to know.
We want to know.
Jillian.
Rosalie.
I got it.
So Rosalie.
Jillian, tell us, what shit does your soul say? No.
Nope.
And on that note, do your woo.
Yes, do your woo.
And tell us, what shit does your soul say?
Yes, what shit does your soul say?
Bye.
Bye.